Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Szabo, is climate change real?
Thank you, Senator. Yes, the climate is changing.
Mr. Fotouhi, the same question, climate change real?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Szabo, would you agree that human activities contribute to climate change?
Senator, I believe there are many things that can create the climate to change themselves.
And that would include human activities, would it not?
In the aggregate, there's a potential impact from human activities on the climate.
And you would agree, Mr. Fotouhi, that human activity contributes to changes in the climate?
Yes, Senator.
And some of those human activities include burning coal, oil, and gas, Mr. Szabo?
I believe there are many activities that can release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere in general.
Well, I'm asking you in particular, burning coal, burning oil, burning gas contributes to climate change, does it not?
Those activities do release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
Mr. Fotouhi, you would agree that burning coal, oil, and gas contributes to climate change?
Senator, emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere has plays a role and does contribute to the changing climate.
And in particular, burning coal, oil, and gas contributes to climate change?
Senator, those activities, depending on how they're undertaken, can result in the emission of greenhouse gases, yes, including methane.
What happens when a simple question exposes the truth politicians don't want to say out loud? Senator Adam Schiff asked Trump's EPA nominees one basic thing: should we reduce our use of oil, gas, and coal to fight climate change? What followed? Dodges, evasions, and a stunning inability to say yes or no.
And in trying to address climate change, would you agree that trying to reduce our reliance on coal, oil, and gas as they are contributors to climate change makes sense, Mr. Szabo?
I believe that it's important that we adapt to any changes, including those with respect to the climate, and I believe that the American people can adapt to those changes.
That's a bit of a murky answer. If coal, oil, and gas are contributing to climate change, would you agree that one strategy to address climate change would be to reduce our reliance on coal, oil, and gas?
I believe, once again, that we can adapt to the potential impacts to climate change without causing potential issues to our reliance on our natural resources within this country.
I'm not sure I understand that answer. If coal, oil, and gas are contributing to climate change, would it make sense as part of our strategy to address climate change to reduce our reliance on coal, oil, and gas? Yes or no?
Senator, I think it's important to take with respect to the potential impacts from those sources of emissions with respect to the global nature of with climate change, and consider that with respect to any policy positions moving forward.
I'm still having trouble understanding your answer. Should we reduce the consumption, the burning of coal, oil, and gas as part of a strategy to mitigate climate change? Yes or no?
Senator, I believe that it's important that we follow the law with respect to any actions we take. If Congress wishes for us to take a different action on climate change, I would leave that into the decision of those in Congress about what policies the United States would take with respect to that.
But as a potential top official in the EPA, you would agree, would you not, that if coal, oil, and gas contribute to climate change, and climate change is resulting in horrendous fires like we had in Los Angeles and stronger hurricanes and more flooding, that one part of a sensible approach to dealing with climate change would be to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels that are contributing to that crisis? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Senator, I'd say the wildfires in California were very tragic. There were many reasons as to what the result of why those wildfires occurred in and of themselves.
Mr. Szabo, do you think the oil industry has a disproportionate impact on our ability, willingness to speak plainly about climate change? You seem to be having difficulty. Does the oil industry exert too great an influence on our policy dealing with climate change such that you can't answer that question?
No, and I am curious if you are insinuating that I'm somehow under the influence of the oil and natural gas industry. I've been consulting with career ethics.
I think this whole Congress is under the influence of the oil, coal, and gas industry. That makes it so difficult to answer a simple question about if these are contributors to climate change. Wouldn't a sensible policy be to reduce our reliance on them? There is some explanation for why that question is difficult to answer, and it is not science. I yield back.
What was supposed to be a straightforward confirmation turned into something much more telling. Schiff didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He just asked direct, clear questions, and their inability to answer said everything. He started simple. Do you believe the climate is changing? Both nominees nodded yes. So far, no surprises. Then he asked the next obvious question. Do human activities contribute to climate change? Fotouhi said yes. Szabo hesitated, talking about many factors and the aggregate impact. Right away, you could sense the discomfort. Then Schiff got specific. Does burning oil, coal, and gas contribute to climate change? You'd think this was settled science, and it is, but Szabo couldn't bring himself to say it directly. He mumbled something about greenhouse gases being released, but never clearly said yes. Fotouhi was slightly more honest, admitting that those activities can release gases like methane. But even then, he couldn't say it cleanly. So Schiff pushed further. If fossil fuels contribute to climate change, shouldn't we reduce our reliance on them? Again, Szabo stumbled. Instead of a straight answer, he talked about Americans adapting to changes. Schiff didn't let that slide. He called it murky. And it was. He asked again, yes or no? Should we reduce fossil fuel use as part of our strategy to fight climate change? And Szabo just couldn't do it. He gave a legally cautious non-answer, saying it's Congress's job to set policy. But here's the thing, he's applying for a leadership role in the EPA. He should already have a position. And if he can't say whether we should reduce coal, oil, and gas to help save the planet, what exactly is he there to do? And then Schiff got to the real heart of it. He asked whether the oil industry has too much influence, so much that people like Szabo can't even speak plainly. Szabo denied it, but Schiff didn't mince words. I think this whole Congress is under the influence of the oil, coal, and gas industry. And honestly, that might be the most honest line in the whole hearing. This wasn't just about climate change. It was about the power of asking a basic, inconvenient question and watching what happens when people are too tied to fossil fuel interests to answer it. If you appreciate this kind of breakdown, clear, direct, no spin, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We're digging into the moments that matter and cutting through the noise so you can understand what's really going on. Drop a comment below. Do you think nominees for agencies like the EPA should be required to give straight answers on climate science? Senator Schiff didn't need to argue. He didn't need to attack. He just asked what should have been an easy question. And their silence said more than any speech ever could. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.